the President of the United States of America, His Excellency Barack Obama.
U.S. President Barack Obama making his way to the podium, the man whom many have come to hear from, but Dean Barrow not making any sort of jokes with his address. Let's hear from President Obama.
I join you here today, and I want to thank Prime Minister Manning, the people of Trinidad and Tobago for their generosity in hosting the 5th Summit of the Americas. And I want to extend my greetings to all the heads of state, many of whom I am meeting for the first time. All of us are extraordinarily excited to have this opportunity to visit this wonderful country. And as somebody who grew up on an island, I can tell you I feel right at home. It's appropriate and important that we hold this summit in the Caribbean. The energy, the dynamism, the diversity of the Caribbean people inspires us all. And are such an important part of what we share in common as a hemisphere. I think everybody recognizes that we come together at a critical moment for the people of the Americas. Our well-being has been set back by a historic economic crisis. Our safety is endangered by a broad range of threats. But this peril can be eclipsed by the promise of a new prosperity and personal security and the protection of liberty and justice for all the people of our hemisphere. That's the future that we can build together, but only if we move forward with a new sense of partnership. All of us must now renew the common stake that we have in one another. I know that promises of partnership have gone unfulfilled in the past, and the trust has to be earned over time. While the United States has done much to promote peace and prosperity in the hemisphere, we've at times been disengaged, and at times we've sought to dictate our terms. But I pledge to you that we seek an equal partnership. There's no senior partner and junior partner in our relations. There's simply engagement based on mutual respect and common interests and shared values. So I'm here to launch a new chapter of engagement that will be sustained throughout my administration. To move forward, we cannot let ourselves be prisoners of past disagreements. I'm very grateful that President Ortega did not blame me for things that happened when I was 3 months old. Too often, an opportunity to build a fresh partnership of the Americas has been undermined by stale debates. And we've heard all these arguments before. These debates that would have us make a false choice between rigid state-run economies or unbridled and unregulated capitalism, between blame for right-wing paramilitaries or left-wing insurgents, between sticking to inflexible policies with regard to Cuba or denying the full human rights that are owed to the Cuban people. Now, I didn't come here to debate the past. I came here to deal with the future. I believe, as some of our previous speakers have stated, that we must learn from history, but we can't be trapped by it. As neighbors, we have a responsibility to each other and to our citizens. And by working together, we can take important steps forward to advance prosperity and security and liberty. That is the 21st century agenda that we come together to enact. That's the new direction that we can pursue. Before we move forward for our shared discussions over this weekend, I'd like to put forward several areas where the United States is committed are ready to strengthening collective action on behalf of our shared goals. First, we must come together on behalf of our common prosperity. That's what we've already begun to do. Our unprecedented actions to stimulate growth and restart the flow of credit will help create jobs and prosperity within our borders and within yours. We joined with our G20 partners to set aside over $1 trillion for countries going through difficult times, recognizing that we have to provide assistance to those countries that are most vulnerable. We will work with you to ensure that the Inter-American Development Bank can take the necessary steps to increase its current levels of lending and to carefully study the needs for recapitalization in the future. And we recognize that we have a special responsibility as one of the world's financial centers to work with partners around the globe to reform a failed regulatory system so that we can prevent the kinds of financial abuses that led to this current crisis from ever happening again and achieve an economic expansion not just in the United States, but all across the hemisphere that is built not on bubbles, but on sustainable economic growth. We're also committed to combating inequality and creating prosperity from the bottom up. This is something that I've spoken about in the United States, and it's something that I believe applies across the region. I've asked Congress for $448 million in immediate assistance for those who have been hit hardest by the crisis beyond our borders. And today I'm pleased to announce a new microfinance growth fund for the hemisphere that can restart the lending that can power businesses and entrepreneurs in each and every country that's represented here. This is not charity. Let me be clear, this is not charity. Together, we can create a broader foundation of prosperity that builds new markets and powers new growth for all peoples in the hemisphere because our economies are intertwined.